This is Ace the Yogi, and you're listening to the Sacred Koi podcast, where ancestral wisdom meets embodied healing. In this episode, Ancestral Technology and the Stories We Carry, we explore how storytelling and music live as sacred tools for remembering, healing, and connecting. Storytelling has always been more than entertainment. It's how our people passed on wisdom, values, and spiritual truths, either through our voice, our rhythm, and even through our breath. And for many of us, music is part of that same lineage. It's not just art, it's an ancestral technology, a way to reach across time, summon memories, and feel ourselves whole again. So in this conversation, we talk about the power of storytelling as a healing practice, the music of communal singing, and how song can become a portal to something much deeper. We reflect on creative vulnerability, liberation, and the beauty of showing up to be witnessed just as we are. And to walk this path with us today is my very dear friend, Khalid Taylor, who uses he, they pronouns. Khalid is a documentary songwriter, teaching artist, and communal storytelling facilitator. Through his practice, Soul Songs, and his work with Queer Choir, Joyful Voices, and Reset Outdoors, Khalid helps individuals and communities transform personal stories into healing songs. He currently studies narrative medicine at Columbia University and is committed to uplifting the voices of LGBTQ+ folks and people of color through story, sound, and song. Welcome, Khalid.
Thank you. You ate that intro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I feel so honored. Thank you so much.
Of course. I feel honored. I feel so honored that you took the time out because you're so busy. You are so busy and it's so hard to catch you. So I'm grateful that you even took the time out to make space for me and to make space for this podcast.
It was an immediate yes. Yeah. I tend to rely on what my spirit says to lean into. And as soon as you asked, I got the full body chills of please, right now, when can we do it?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So you do a lot of things in the realm of music and storytelling. Can you tell my listeners what that actually means? We hear this term storytelling, and for many of us as adults, we initially just associate it with our childhood, with our parents or our teachers having story time. And as we get older, we lose that disconnect to the creativity that comes with storytelling and how it can actually connect us with so much that we've lost. So for my listeners, what exactly is storytelling?
Great question. I would say that storytelling is perspective taking, meaning making, and reality shaping. Right? So I'll break that down a little bit. So I feel like when we're telling stories and listening to stories, we are taking on the perspective of a certain point of view. No story is fully complete because it's coming from one angle, right? And so any story gives us an entry point into an experience or into a set of experiences or into a part of the universe that we're exploring. Meaning making is how we internalize a story, what we do to connect the dots of our own experiences to that, or connect that data point into our system, into our network, into our mini universe. And reality shaping is like you offered in your intro. And I guess what I'm thinking about is how stories have told us for so long about the ways of being and about how to be a person in the world, or what to watch out for. Or I think a lot of stories hold opinions, hold truths, hold beliefs, hold paradigms. There's so much wrapped up into any given story that they inform the reality that we navigate and see ourselves in. Yeah.
I love that term, reality shaping. I'm going to use that, actually. I never heard that those words used together, but it really does transform just my own perspective of storytelling. And it's so along with that, I'm wondering for you, who were some storytellers in your life growing up?
Two off the bat that come to mind are my mom and dad.
Oh, your parents.
Yeah. The first person that came to mind was my dad, because he and I would have conversations from very little about the universe. And he was quick to tell me growing up that just because something was written in a book didn't make it true. And so he was adamant about helping me to process what I would learn in school, what I would learn on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, Dad.
Right, for real. He was very aware that from birth to age 7 is when children are most programmable, or when we receive most of our programming, and we are indoctrinated into the societies that we grow up in and are part of. So all those messages, the stories that we pick up from that point to 7 shape our reality. And he was so adamant about, he would tell me, I am here in this lifetime to make sure that you can be whatever you want to be in this lifetime. And I will be damned if I let anyone get in the way of that. So he was quick to deprogram me every day after school. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that I have those words at the time, but he would just like talk to me about how my day was and have me question and consider new perspectives. And for him, a 4-hour conversation was a snack.
Wow.
Yeah. So we would just talk. We would just talk, kiki, whatever you want to call it. He never hit me. He never beat me. So sometimes those 4-hour talks were lectures, and they were a lot sometimes. But I think he gifted me the gift of being able to listen, to weave together points across long periods of time, to really pull out like, what are the gems of this conversation? And he would always ask me, what am I trying to say? So I would always be analyzing and doing critical thinking in our conversations. He told me so much about the world, about his time growing up, our family, our history. And he always was quick to remind me about myself. So one of my favorite quotes is from The Lion King, when Mufasa says, "Remember who you are." Exactly. Iconic. And I've always felt that kind of invitation from my father, from the universe, from life, just remember who I am. And what I think I mean by that, what I think the quote is suggesting is, remember whose you are, the stories that you are wrapped in, the prayers that wove together to make you and allow you to walk. Okay.
You're giving me chills.
Just I think prayers are also stories, right? Like, and they weave together to help us carry forward and for our lines and our lineages to carry forward. Anyway, so that my dad, it was really the first person that I found was like a griot, a storyteller to our people. So as Black people also, he was so quick to uplift and amplify Black stories. He would take me to so many community events and honor our whole history as much as we could call from our walk. And I'm so grateful for that. I feel like he gave me a worldly view from very little. And then my mom, who was from Honduras and came here when she was 9, she is more of an introvert, but I think that people sometimes get the wrong rap about introverts, that they don't talk or that they don't connect with people. I think it's just that they have specific people that they mess with.
They're selective.
Yeah, they're very selective. But when you're with those people, they shine or they come to life. And so for me, my mom and I had that relationship from very little. And her mom was not as talkative and communicative with her. So my mom made it her mission to talk to my siblings and I about everything. She was like, there is nothing in this life that is a secret about me that you don't.
Oh, so nothing was off the table.
Nothing was off the table.
Wow.
And that low-key made me a parentified child sometimes in being my mom's therapist, low-key. But I just remember having so many conversations about the stories of my people, where I come from. And there are moments where I'm like, okay, I've heard this story before. Like, I know where this is going. And I'm not. But that is also, as I've gotten older, I appreciate that's a gift, because every time you hear a story, if you're willing, you can hear something different. And also the repetition is how you integrate it and how you internalize that experience. And so I feel like that our communities did not have technology that held memory in the same way that we do now. And so that ancestral technology of passing down stories, I love how you phrase that. That's it right there. And it's in the repetition. It's in the repeating your story, because that's how you remember. So yeah, those are my first two. I'm grateful that they were so close to home, literally. They brought me into this world.
I feel gratitude for your parents because they raised such an amazing person. Such an amazing individual. No, I'm serious. You do so much for the community. Like, you are of service to others. And that is a very great calling to answer, because many, I think, have that calling, but they don't answer it.
That's real.
Yeah, and you definitely answered it, and you utilized the things that your parents instilled in you. Something that you were talking about with your parents that really stood out for me, you identify as a Black man, right? And there's very few Black men in our society that have that kind of relationship with their father.
Real.
Very few.
That's a story. That's a set of stories in and of itself.
Yes.
The story about the Black man not being in the family. And please continue.
Yeah. And so, like, that, I want to hold space for that in itself.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was the main person that instilled the storytelling in you.
Pillar.
Yes. And I love that. Of course, we're going to give props to mom as well.
Absolutely.
Yes. Never take that away. But I think it's something to be said to receive that from a male figure in your life.
Yep.
When so many of us, when we do hear things about storytelling, oftentimes it comes from like a grandmother, right? The matriarch in the family. So to hear stories of it coming from the male in the family, the male leadership in the family, that's so pivotal.
Yeah.
And changing the way that we actually view family systems and the way that we view our Blackness. Even.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, for real. He's so grateful for his old soul. And he was a father before he was a father. He held his siblings and just had a sense of responsibility and duty that he's held and done such a great job of maintaining for all of my life and before that. So I'm just grateful. Absolutely. It is. I do my best to not take that for granted.
Yes.
That to have that at home and to be told every day that I was special, like that I meant something, that I mattered, that how I showed up was a superpower, and I was a finisher. And like his strengths-based approach to raising me, goodness gracious, the little cub thrived as a result of that holding and instilling. Yeah.
Okay, Simba. We love that so much. Thank you, Dad. We love you so much.
Thank you, Puppy.
So I want to transition a little bit because you mentioned the term ancestral technology again. And that's a term that I recently came across and things that I was studying to prep for this episode, really. And when I speak of this term ancestral technology, I'm speaking to the tools our people created to survive, to stay connected, and to pass on wisdom. These are things like prayer, which you mentioned. It's also things like song, rhythm, even movement.
Yeah.
These are technologies of the spirit. It's literally embedded in our DNA. So earlier this year, director Ryan Coogler released another cultural phenomenon, Sinners. It's like yearly. This beautifully displayed the magic of our people as a source of ancestral power, memory, and resistance. And I want to read a quote real quick from the movie, which details the very essence of this ancestral technology that we're talking about. So, quote, "There are legends of people born with the gift of making music, so true it can pierce the veil between life and death, conjuring spirits from the past and the future." Even just reading that gives me chills. I got goosebumps. Yeah. We went to see that movie together.
I'm so grateful.
But this quote really speaks to music as a bridge between worlds.
Yeah.
Right? I'm wondering for you, has music ever helped you cross into a part of yourself that you didn't know was there?
Yeah.
I love this laugh already.
Always. What's funny is that it's simultaneously, yes, I have no doubt. And when I think about it, I struggle to find a particular moment only because it's been ever present. My dad is a drummer and my mom will, any type of Latin music, put it on and she's moving. And so for me, music has been ever present. It is how I communicate with the universe. It's how I understand myself. It's how I relate to other people. It's both like a bridge, but it's like also the vehicle. It's also like the destination. It's also the starting point. Like it permeates through everything. I really deeply resonate with that quote because I feel like art and creative expression are how spirit moves through everything, or is one of the vehicles that spirit uses to move through everything. And growing up with it, I felt I was always in that conversation. But there are moments where songs really stick with me. So I would say that my neurospicy brain often thinks in music.
Okay.
As when I hear people say something, I'm like, oh, it makes me think of this song. But oftentimes when a song is lingering in my being for a while, I know that there's like a download, there's a message, there's medicine in those lyrics. Yeah. And so I'm thinking there were a couple moments where I went to Oberlin College to study classical voice and neuroscience. And
Wait, say that again? My brain stopped for a second. Wait, I didn't even know that. We say that one more time.
Yeah. So Oberlin is a college and a conservatory. And when I first went to Oberlin, I came as a double degree studying classical voice in the conservatory and neuroscience in the college.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've always loved how music affects the mind. And I've always been curious about that intersection. And I realized like very early on that within the first year that classical voice wasn't for me.
Okay.
I love music. It's in my soul. It's in my being. It's in my spirit. I was always a choir kid. So I was familiar with classical techniques, with Western classical techniques.
Okay.
But it just wasn't like the competition element and this like you don't clap after the end of a song, the lack of call and response that I was experiencing, like being a performer, I felt so disconnected from what I grew up in as a way of being in music. I felt like people were putting barriers and like structure that didn't resonate with me around it. And that's no shade to people who love it. I still love like opera and classical. Is gorgeous. And it is like a technique that I'm grateful that I've learned a bit about. But I was like, this is not for me. So I dropped out of the conservatory and I was pursuing the science route because I told myself in third grade that I wanted to be a scientist. That was it. And I got to this point in my junior year where I had like the worst interaction I ever had with the professor and he was going to be my advisor going into my senior year when I was choosing whether or not I would go to grad school for neuroscience or things like that, because my current advisor was one of sabbatical. So I came to this crossroads where I was like, every part of my being is saying no to this right now. I've said that I want this. And I'm realizing that the song that's coming to mind, it isn't directly connected to that moment, but there have been these moments in my life where I have had to like really shed and release, or while also finding the balance of holding on to the things that feel true.
Yeah.
And so there's a song by Mary and Mary called that's called Can't Give Up Now.
Okay.
So it goes, I just can't give up now. Come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me. And I'm not particularly Christian. I'm actually not Christian. Wasn't born and raised in it. But when spirit moves, it moves, it shakes. And there's something about the way that Black people sing.
Woo! We
sang. And so gospel is one of those places that has always like resonated with me. I'm like, it's not Sky Daddy for me, but but God and the way that spirit moves. And I think that the inherent benevolence of the great spirit that moves through everything, supporting us on our journeys and helping us to get where we need to be, how we need to be, when we need to be, for a reason. I think that kind of sentiment has carried me throughout so much. And so that song has come to me and has been on repeat in moments in my life in which I like need this like assurance from spirit that like you are exactly where you need to be. Don't, and it's okay if you pivot, right? There's no shame in pivoting or changing your trajectory. I held a lot of shame about that for a long time, but you are who you need to be. So don't let other people tell you that you can't do what you're here to do, even if it looks different than what they constructed for you or projected onto you.
Oh my gosh, Khalid. My heart is fluttering right now. And I'm grateful because you shared your voice with my listeners. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm also not Christian. I'm Buddhist, but I hold that same reverence when it comes to gospel music as well. It's that feeling that you get, that sensation, that connection to spirit that you get. Wow.
The blues and the gospel existed before gospel. Right?
Yes.
That's the story, right? That's the story. The story that we have to sing about existed before Christianity was put into our universe or into our collective.
Yeah, it's been in our DNA. That technology.
Even and to that point, there's so many moments where I feel like I'm blessed with this, like with the voice that I have, as I believe everyone is. But there's so many moments where I tend to close my eyes when I perform because that is the place where I'm like, I'm calling in whatever needs to be called in to let this thing move. Let me be the vessel for the light to shine through. And so like that quote that you offered is one of those, that is what I have always felt when I sing. I'm like, I'm always in that conversation. I'm always inviting spirit to move through me when and how it can. And to get out the way. Get out the way to be in the way.
Whoa, get out of your own way.
Okay. Yes. Because sometimes we think we know. Sometimes we really think we know.
Spirit gonna show you though. Show you just how much you think you know and how much you really don't.
Keep me humble.
Yes. Yes. I oh my gosh. So much is coming up for me right now.
Love it.
But I love just that hum that both of us just so naturally did, right? And thinking back to the movie Sinners, that scene where they're talking about the lynching and he just started singing.
Yeah.
That's the technology.
Yes, it is.
That's our connection.
Yep.
There's something magical and mythical about us as a people, but also about that magic, that black, I don't want to say black magic, that black magic, that black magic though.
It is, yeah. And we could get into a whole other conversation around the stories around who said black was bad,
yes,
right? Or who said that black man. But that, I'm gonna leave that there. You're right.
We're gonna say that for another episode.
Right, we're gonna say that for another episode.
I'm gonna plug that in another episode.
Love that because we need to talk about it. But we think about stories also as this like verbal thing, but what you just described, that's not quite a word. And yet there is so much woven into it. There's so much
everything in there.
Right?
We're communicating.
We are communicating and having a whole conversation. And we're bringing in ancestors. We're bringing in what we did that day. We're bringing in our 7-year-old self. We're bringing in the traffic that we experienced. That says so much at the same time. at the same damn time.
At the same damn time.
And so we are magical, we are mythical, and we're also mathematical, right? So there's a vibration that resonates in our bodies,
Right.
And chanting or repetitive sound is really good for our vagus, the longest the nerve that's innervated throughout our whole being.
Come with it, yes.
Right?
It's science.
It can be found in every organ and every system in our body. So when we do chant, when we speak, when we sing, we're actually regulating our whole nervous system.
Yes, sir.
We think about our nervous system as just our brain, but it's actually our whole, like our spinal cord and everything that comes out of it into our whole body. We're actually one big brain.
Yes.
And so when we do these things that serve to regulate our nervous system, it is a technology of medicine. It is actually good for our being to talk our stories, to talk our shit, to sing to do our things, to be a community where we're raising our voices together in harmony. So necessary.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of that, coming together and raising our voices, you beautifully transitioned into our queer choir.
Yeah.
You facilitate these beautiful one-day queer choir experiences. Can you tell my listeners a little bit more about why you started facilitating these events and what kind of makes them a little different from the traditional choral space?
Yeah. Probably isn't a surprise, but I got a story.
Oh, yeah, we love the stories. Yes, on theme.
Right. I moved to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania in 2019. I was just from Brooklyn, went to college in Ohio, and then came to Bethlehem because my parents were here. We got priced out of New York.
Awesome.
So it was originally supposed to be a checkpoint.
Right.
And then the spiritual being that I've always been was really adamant about inviting a new version of myself into the world. And so I shaved off my locks at 21 years. I went clean shaven and just had this ritual for myself. And literally we're recording this in the fall. And around this time, 6 years ago, is when I started to experience symptoms of Lyme disease. And so tremendous joint pain in my body and just so debilitating. I was bedridden for about 2 years.
Wow.
And I had these chronic wounds on my face that would not heal. I had inflicted so much pain on myself. I was angry for so long before that, and it was coming out of my body in this really intense way. It was a dark night of the soul. It was a great spiritual reckoning for me. And within a matter of months was when the pandemic also began. So it was a reckoning for all of us.
Yeah.
And I was so alone. I found myself in this new place that I didn't have I had maybe one or two family friends, but I didn't know anyone here, and everyone was also indoors, and grateful for technology to help me still stay in contact with some of my friends. But I just felt alone in my struggles, in the moments where I could find joy. I just felt really alone. And I've been a choir kid since third grade, and I was singing before that. So I found that singing was something that I went to for connection to self, but also connection to others. And so I also in that time came across the Gaia Music Collective. And so they've been doing all types of group singing experiences for a couple of years now. And they do it in New York, and they've grown to the point where they have hundreds of people in the warehouse singing, learning a song in 3 hours and performing it. And so I saw that and I was like, oh my God, I love that. That's beautiful. And it reminded me of my time in Oberlin when during finals, my friends and I would find the most resonant staircase and just make noise together. No particular song. If a song came in mind, we'd sing it, add it to the circle, and then just flow. And that was our stress release. That was our technology, that we held for each other, and that co-regulation. So it was something that just felt so right to me. And to see an example of it in the world where people were craving connection, people were craving experiences where they could be together. People were craving a space of authenticity where they didn't have to be anyone but themselves, show up in who and what they were willing to bring, and let that be valid and add it to something greater than the sum of its parts. And I'm all about that. Aquarius in me is, look, I'm here for the people. So I was like, yeah, if we can create these ephemeral experiences where we just do it for one day, it releases the pressure of having to show up to rehearsals because people be busy, I'll be busy, and the consistency of stuff is sometimes challenging for me. Yeah. So I'm like, I can commit to a once a month type of thing, but if it gets that far. So 2024 came around, And I love queer people. I love people of color, and my people. So Pride came around in the Lehigh Valley, and I wanted to plant the seed to see if we could do a one-day choir experience at Pride. And you were a part of it, and it was a really great time. It was a hit, and honestly, one of the highlights of Pride. And so it just seemed to really resonate with people. So I said, okay, if this is what my community also wants, then I'm gonna see what I can do to make it a more consistent thing for us, because how often do queer adults get the chance to be together outside the context of hooking up or like trying to hook up, or there being substances connected to our connection and things like that. And that's not shade. I don't mean it to come across as we can only do that, but we're also so much more than that, and that part of our identity and that part of socializing with each other. And one thing that's been important to me with queer choir is amplifying messages of positivity. Like, I'm all about, like, when we put local voices together, we are raising a vibration. And so what are we singing about? What is the meaning of the lyrics? And how can we like amplify goodness in this world by singing together? So that's been the intention, and we've had some really great times. I'm getting excited. One of the other things that felt important to me was using queer choir to amplify the work of other organizations. So I've been really intentional about partnering with Eastern Pennsylvania Trans Equity Project, or Soak Lehigh Valley, or the Bradbury Sullivan LGBTQ Center, other organizations who are already serving our community. Right. Like, how can this amplify what they're doing? And that's been really sweet. And we've even been able to perform for the governor at the governor's live reception this year. And so that piece, when I'm a little hard on myself, I want to be doing more to benefit our community and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, Khalid, girl, slow down. It's already in there. I'm always wanting to grow and get better, but just being able to use music as not just like a thing that feels good for the individual, but the thing that calls us to each other, that helps us to remind each other of our humanity and the reason why we do all the things that are hard and uncomfortable, why we protest and why we demand our rights. It's because there's a human in you that is looking for the same type of peace, the same type of acceptance, love, nurturing, care, and support. And so when we create art together, that reminds us of who we are.
Oh
yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much intention goes into the things that you do, the work that you do. Transitioning from the queer choir into something that's a little bit more intimate are the documentary songwriting that you do. Can you tell folks what that is?
Yeah. So documentary songwriting is a method by which I, as a teaching artist, have the gift and privilege of helping people transform lived experiences into song. So we have a step-by-step process where we start with a person's story and then sculpt that story into lyrics and then create melody and build the song from there. And what I love about it, many things I love about it, is that the storyteller doesn't need to have any previous musical expertise or experience in order to engage in this work. They just have to come with a story that has beginning, middle, and end that happened to them and that holds emotion or meaning or significance to them. From there, we can work it out. I love it because it's collaborative from start to finish. So it's a song that wouldn't be possible unless both of us were working on it together. So sure, another song could come from the story, but this specific song at this time would not be possible unless both the storyteller and I, as a facilitator or teaching artist, came together to work on it, to put our hearts, minds, energies, our whole universe, whatever we are coming into the space with, informs what the collaborative process brings about and births. There are often multiple songs that are possible from one story,
right?
But we're just calling in that one song for today, what's happening for us now. The genre could be whatever comes out of the storytellers, like whatever they're feeling like they're going to sing, and what we can come up with together is what the song is. There's also part of me that kind of rejects labels and all of that good stuff. So I think that it feels good to just let a thing be what it's going to be. And I think that my superpowers I often see them most when I am responding with care to someone else and with someone else.
Being of service.
Being of service. And so it just feels like such a good way for me to show up with people. It is a process and a method of creative collaboration, but I think it's also helped me think about life. Like, how do I be with people? How do I hold space with people to bear whatever they have and to trust me with that? And then also using the songwriting method as a vehicle for processing the experience. It's a kind of it is not therapy, but it is like a narrative therapy in a sense. And so it can be done with individuals, and it can also be done in group settings. So actually pretty recently, I was just in Richmond to do a 2-week series of documentary songwriting sessions with people who are in an addiction recovery program out of jail in Richmond with an organization called Unlocking Harmony.
Okay.
And we had a week of working with the women at the recovery program, and then a week working with the men. And so we created a song a day with a group of women and men for each week. And then we had 8 songs. And then about a month later, we all came back together and had a concert with both men and women to the community that's in the program and the jail. And it was really powerful. And so that's just one example of what's possible. I've also done it with like schools. And what I'm really excited about is the opportunity I just received a grant to do this work really with my community. Like I planted the seed out like last year where I was like, I want to work with queer and trans people, ideally of color. We'll take our whole LGBTQ mafia. And now I have a grant to be able to create songs with our community. And so I have this gift, I have this opportunity now to really be intentional with who I get to work with, what are we amplifying, and how is this in service of the people that don't necessarily get the documentary songwriting like opportunity? How can we show their humanity or amplify their experiences through these songs that are going to be created or have been started and are going to be picked up again? So yeah, it's flexible.
That's so big that you were able to get a grant, especially during the time that we're living through politically in our country. Wow.
It is the New Music USA grant. They are granting folks, especially around the theme of America's 250th anniversary.
The irony.
Right, exactly. And so the point is reimagining what America could be. And so I'm so grateful that they trusted documentary songwriters and then by proxy me to have people's stories be amplified that are being like subjugated to like oppressive systems and violent tactics of silencing. And it's so important that we have our stories to be heard and to remind folks that we exist. Our identities are possible. Not only are they possible, they are happening every day. And it's frustrating that we have to proclaim our worthiness of humanity and of existing. And yet we got the technology. We have our ancestors gifted us the technology to be able to tap into the heart and soul of another human being and say, I am here. I am with you. We are here together. It is a good thing to be here now together.
Yeah.
Right. And so what can we do if we are fully here together now? And I'm hoping that our songs can call that and invite people into that space.
I know that it is. As a person who has experienced that process with you, it is deeply transformational. So I know that the work that you're doing is so meaningful. You have deep purpose in this world, Khalid.
Thank you. I feel it. It's intimidating sometimes.
Oh, I know it is.
Oh my goodness. I'm like, am I doing this right?
I should. The universe is telling you yes. I feel that everything around you, everything that is coming to you is that response of yes. Yes, it is. Perceive that. Yeah. I'm keeping that.
Right.
I'm keeping that. Something that me and you recently talked about during our little camping trip.
Yeah.
Our queer camping trip.
Yay!
with care and like protecting your own energy. I'm a spiritual worker, I'm an energy worker, just as you are.
Yeah.
And I understand how difficult it is to hold others in space while also holding space for yourself in the process.
Goodness.
How do you protect your energy and or stay grounded when you're holding other people's stories during these processes?
So specifically within the context of documentary songwriting?
No, documentary. Yeah, I would say specifically.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
And I can touch on the choir stuff too.
Yeah.
But I would say it helps that, like you said, like I feel like I've come into the world to do this. So there's like the ease of, I get excited when people share like intense shit with me. I'm like, oh, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Because when else do you get that space to talk about heavy shit?
That's true.
Is it okay if I curse?
Oh,
okay, great.
Yeah, I'm going to say I've been cursing.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I think there's like an excitement of learning the human experience. I think that I see it as I'm a curious person and curious soul. And so I think that it is often filling when in a good way, when I can hold the space with someone where authenticity is present, where transparency is there, where vulnerability exists, and we can play with that and the trust to do that. I also feel in that time I'm intentional because of the way my dad brought me up is to approach things from a strengths-based perspective.
Okay.
So I don't want to gaslight or like bypass heaviness. And I think I'm so adamant about reminding people of their strengths and reminding people of the opportunities and the invitations that challenging moments provide. And just like putting the mirror up in a way with just a reminder of who you are, that this is a moment within a larger story of your life. And you come with so much and so many gifts. So I think when I can do that in an interaction, then often the transaction, quote unquote, of that interaction doesn't feel as heavy or burdensome on me, which makes it easier to leave it there once I'm done with the situation.
So you don't carry it with you.
Not always.
Yeah.
And so there's that piece. I will say that it's still challenging. I mean, even that sigh. Now my body's okay, girl. You're talking good talk, but I deeply require alone time.
Oh, baby.
Oh, need it.
No, I know that.
I've done the whole Myers-Briggs, and I oscillate between introvert and extrovert over the years.
Yeah.
And more now it's introvert.
You give so much of yourself.
Yeah.
You have to.
I be putting on for my people, and I have no regrets about it.
Yeah.
And yet, if people were in my home, they would be so surprised. The Gemini rising, I give extrovert, I give joyful sunshine and beams of light and rainbows and goodness. But at home, me, I don't want to say I'm mean mugging, but I'll really be like, I enjoy the flatness.
I'm loving this. I love like mean like, I love this so much because I resonate with that. Also a Gemini rising.
Right. I'm like, don't expect me to be any type of cheery because this is the space where I'm recharging.
Yes.
I don't need to be anyone's anything right now except myself.
Yes, no mask.
No mask.
Yeah.
And it's like, and what's interesting about that is they're most I'm like, damn, am I fake? And I'm like, no, it doesn't feel fake when I'm sharing that like joy and that enthusiasm and the balance of the harmony is a dance of balance, which we talked a little about earlier. I feel like I have to recharge or else the burnout, which I've experienced in my life from overgiving and overcaring, it creeps up. And I struggle with it though, because I feel guilt when I think about what does it mean to be in community? And like community is not always convenient, or to be in community is not always a convenient thing.
Yeah.
And so I do feel guilt around taking care of myself means that sometimes I'm not responding to other people, like for periods of time.
Cough.
Without
I know. I understand.
I feel you. And so it feels so, I feel so bad about it sometimes. And yet my spirit is like, there is no part of you that wants to do that right now. So why are you overextending, trying to make it shake? And if there's compassion in showing up for people, even when it's not convenient for you, or when you might be overextending yourself. And also I got to trust that people will be okay.
Yeah.
In the same way I'm trying to work my life out, I'm going to give when I can. And in order for me to continue to do this for the long haul, I have to give when I can. And then when I'm not able to or don't feel called to, I release it, because Spirit has shown me so many times that when it's my time to do something, can't nothing stop me from doing it.
Okay.
But when I start to think too much around how much I'm doing, or then I start to operate outside of my own integrity. And we've also talked about how like integrity is like a form of protection. Spiritual alignment is a form of protection. And so if I'm overextending myself, I am actually operating out of my own integrity. And that is a setup for failure, or a setup for a hard lesson to learn later when the engine lights have already been blinking and I'm overdoing it. That's how I made myself sick. Years ago, I made myself sick by doing too much, and I held in a lot of anger because I didn't have time to process it, because always in service of other people, resentment. And sure, a tick bit me, but the way that my body expressed illness and Lyme disease and how it took me out was very specific to my own experience. And at least the way I interpret it is that my body held so much that was both mine because I hadn't processed it, but also everyone else's shit because I didn't have time to release it. So I will say that what I have now that I didn't have as well back then was a consistent meditative practice as well.
Good.
Yeah. So I be talking with my ancestors every morning to the best of my ability. I have an altar, we talk, we sit, we chat, we kiki. I line up my energy and set my protective fields for the day, and I set the vortexes in place to align with the things that are here for highest good. Yep. The people, places, and things that show up, that I trust in the kismet of it all, and let myself be a part of that, as opposed to trying to force the flow into a specific way. I'll leave it there.
I think folks can learn a whole lot from just observing you and watching you exist in the world. Yeah. I did an episode with another colleague of mine, and something that came up during our conversation was like the guilt around self-care. Right. And I don't think folks really understand the courage that is required to not show up for people all the time, or to not concede to other people's expectations of you, or wantings of you. It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Your emergency does not require my urgency.
Say that again.
Your emergency does not require my urgency.
We're going to take a moment of silence for that right there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I want to ask my last question for you. Just for this episode. Cool. If your life were a story passed down generations from now, what would you hope it would inspire in those who hear it?
There are a couple themes that I hope would continue to permeate. One thing I've found is that my life is like a spiral, in the sense that I've felt this calling of music, mind, people, care, story, but I didn't know what that looked like. And so I kept trying different iterations of it until I found things that felt like they stuck. But if I didn't continue, and if I didn't let myself flounder and struggle, or to be heartbroken by rejection, or to sit in boredom, to sit in discomfort, to sit in uncertainty, then I would not be in this iteration of my life now. That feels like it's just up and up. And so I think just giving yourself permission to oscillate and to be in that spiral and to come back around to it. Sometimes it's the same thing, but you are a different person meeting it.
Wow.
And I think that's worth the time and journey to explore. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Khalid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Thank you. This is great.
This is so amazing.
Yeah.
I appreciate you so much. I want to thank everyone who listened to this episode. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Sacred Koi podcast. I hope something in this exchange helped you pause, remember, and root more fully into your own story and ancestral knowing. This episode reminds us that our stories, whether spoken, sung, or shared in community, are powerful technologies for remembering who we are. Storytelling is a global ancestral technology used to pass on wisdom, values, history, and healing practices long before and often instead of written language. These stories were never just about entertainment. They were about survival, about connection, about spirit. And across cultures, storytelling has served as a way to preserve knowledge and maintain identity and to transmute truth across generations. Whether through spoken word, through rhythm, or song, our stories remind us who we are when we forget ourselves. So until next time, may you rest, reclaim, and return to what has always been yours. I love you.